Hello, my friends, and welcome back to English Storyverse. This episode is especially designed for upper intermediate learners. Those of you who can already communicate in English but want to move to the next level of fluency, independence, and confidence. I'm glad you're here because today we're talking about a challenge that so many learners face, maybe even you. It's the idea, the strong belief that to really become fluent in English, you must have a speaking partner. Perhaps you have thought this yourself, right? If only I had a native speaker to practice with, then I would finally speak English. Well, it sounds logical, doesn't it? Language is about communication. So it makes sense to imagine that you need someone on the other side of the conversation. But here's the thing. That belief is a misconception. A misconception is simply a mistaken idea, a wrong assumption. Okay? And this particular misconception has held back thousands of learners. This has disappointed many learners. The truth is that you don't need another person to practice English with every single day. In fact, you can develop fluency entirely on your own. And in some ways, independent practice, which is practice you do by yourself, can actually be more powerful because you decide the pace, the speed, the topic, and the focus. Okay? You're not waiting for someone else. Now, let's pause for a moment and think about why traditional methods often fall short, especially for people learning on their own. When I say fall short, I mean they don't quite deliver what you really need. They do not give you what you really want or need, okay? Maybe you have attended a language class where 20 students take turns and you only get to speak for 2 minutes. Maybe you have had a speaking partner who was friendly but didn't correct you, so you repeated the same mistakes again and again. Or maybe you have relied on the occasional conversation with someone online. This may have given you a nice moment of practice, but not the repetition you needed to grow. These methods can leave you feeling stuck because fluency is built by speaking consistently again and again every single day until the words become natural. So, what is the alternative? What can you do instead? What is the other path? The answer is self-directed practice. Okay, self-directed practice. Self-directed simply means you take the lead. You become the guide. You become the leader. And once you guide yourself, you can create a fluency system that runs every single day without depending on a class schedule or a partner's availability. You can practice anytime you want. One of the most powerful tools I recommend is what I call the inner conversation method. Well, that's a big word, but it simply means talking to yourself. This is where you take your thoughts, the ideas already inside your mind, and turn them into English words. In other words, you talk to yourself not silently but out loud. For example, imagine you're cooking breakfast, okay? You don't just crack the eggs in silence. Instead, you narrate, which means you describe out loud what you are doing, almost as if you're telling a story. I'm cracking the eggs. The pan is heating up. I think I will add some cheese. By narrating your actions, you bring your inner thoughts to life in English. You become the storyteller of your own daily life. Another way to use the inner conversation method is by responding to content, okay? When you watch a news video, don't just sit back and absorb the information passively. And absorb here means taking in, okay? Instead, talk back to it. Pretend the presenter asked you for your opinion. You might say, "Well, I don't completely agree with that. From my point of view, the situation is more complicated." Okay, something like that. Now, by answering the screen, you simulate a dialogue. It may not be real, but it trains your brain to respond quickly, just as if it were. And then there are self-dialogues, which are especially effective. A self-dialogue is when you play both roles in a conversation. It might feel unusual at first, but it works beautifully. You can practice arguments, explanations, even storytelling. For example, pretend you're explaining a movie to a friend. So the main character wants to escape the city, but he doesn't have enough money. Okay? Something like that. By rehearsing both sides, by practicing both sides, you practice the natural rhythm of English conversation without even needing a partner. Of course, technology today makes all of this even easier. We now have AI conversation partners such as ChatGPT. Imagine it's midnight and you suddenly want to practice ordering food in a restaurant. With AI, you can do it instantly. No need to wait for tomorrow's class or schedule a session. And let's not forget personalized learning paths. Personalized means tailored, designed just for you. Many apps now analyze your progress and suggest what you need to practice next. This way, you don't waste time repeating material you already know, and instead, you concentrate on the areas that will push you forward, okay? You focus on the areas that help you improve, okay? Now let's talk about your daily fluency blueprint. Our blueprint is like a plan, like a program, a design you can follow. And the truth is, your plan doesn't have to be complicated. Even just 15 minutes a day of focused, consistent practice can transform your fluency over time. Transform means change, usually in a good way. Think of it like physical exercise. You don't build strength by going to the gym once for 3 hours and then stopping, right? You build strength by exercising a little regularly over weeks and months. The same principle applies to English. So, what might this daily routine look like? In the morning, as you get ready, narrate your actions. I'm brushing my teeth. I'm choosing what to wear today. In the afternoon, listen to a short podcast or a video, and then talk back to it. Add your own opinion. In the evening, practice a short self-dialogue. Pretend you're telling someone about your day. Today I was busy. First, I had to do this, then I had to do that. Okay? In this way, you have spoken English 3 separate times during the day without needing anyone else. And here's a powerful tip. Track your progress. Okay, tracking means keeping a record following what you do. You can record your voice once a week and save it. In the beginning, you will hear mistakes, but after weeks and months, when you compare your recordings, you will hear clear progress. This is incredibly motivating. It gives you the energy to keep moving forward. And that brings us to the long-term vision. Fluency isn't something you reach in one big leap, okay? In one big step. It's something you construct, you build piece by piece, like building a house, brick by brick, word by word, sentence by sentence. If you keep showing up daily, even with small efforts, you will create something permanent and powerful. All right, so let's return to the central question of today's episode. Do you really need a partner to speak English every day? The answer is no. You can absolutely unlock fluency on your own. What you need are the right methods, which is the inner conversation method, self-dialogues, and narrating your daily life. You need the right tools such as AI partners, ChatGPT, and above all, you need consistency and a clear vision of where you are going. Remember, every single time you speak out loud in English, you're strengthening your fluency muscle. You don't need to wait for permission. You don't need to wait for a partner. You already have everything you need to begin right now. If you found this episode useful, here is my challenge to you. Right after this podcast, speak out loud. If you don't agree with what I said, say it out loud. That is completely okay. Summarize what you learned in your own words. Try a short self-dialogue or narrate the next thing you do. Start your daily solo fluency journey now, because the best partner you could ever have is actually yourself. Thank you for joining me today on English Unleashed. I'm Tom, and until next time, keep listening, keep learning, and keep believing in yourself. Bye for now. Down. I know.